ending this for you today. Go join your parents in the next world and live happily there."
A harsh, sloshing sound filled the air as gasoline drenched my head, filling my senses with its stinging smell. My mother-in-law Elena, smiling with twisted delight, discarded the empty gas can. My whole body reeked of gasoline as it dripped off me and seeped into the asphalt beneath my feet. I hadn't expected this. Certainly not when she abruptly stopped the car and dragged me out on our way to the crematorium. The cold wind stung, but I held on to the framed picture of my parents, clinging tightly.
"Your parents deserve better than a disgraceful daughter-in-law like you by their side. So let me do them the honor of sending you off, joined with their real daughter."
She pulled a lighter from her pocket, smiling in a way that revealed her madness. The pungent gasoline fumes burned my eyes, and the chill in the air sank into my bones. I closed my eyes, apologizing silently to my parents, and clutched their photo tightly. I could almost see their sad but comforting smiles. The gasoline soaked through my clothes, stinging my skin with a biting intensity. Maybe I really was a terrible daughter. I wasn't even there in their last moments. A wave of guilt and regret crushed my heart, rendering me speechless against her accusations.
"So, you neglected your real parents. Guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. A worthless daughter raised by worthless parents."
She sneered, fiddling with the lighter in her hand, producing a rhythmic and ominous clicking sound that grated on my nerves. I knew I had no defense. It hurt even more, feeling completely defeated. The small flame flickered in the wind, speeding up my heart with every sway.
"You always put on airs like a perfect daughter-in-law, but really, you're worthless. No one loves you."
Her cruel smile froze my very soul. If only I'd been a better daughter. If only I'd cherished my parents more. Regrets swirled like a dark cloud inside my chest.
"But it's too late now."
She took a step closer, igniting the lighter's flame. The dancing fire reflected in her eyes, filled with unhinged delight. But then, a single image flashed in my mind. Without thinking, I bolted, running with all my might while clutching my parents' photo to my chest.
"Where do you think you're going?"
Her shrill, screeching voice rang out behind me. Covered in gasoline, I ran as fast as my legs could carry me toward a single glimmer of light in the distance. My name is Mina Taylor. I'm 39 years old. I work as an assistant at a medium-sized company. Though my title is minor, I handle crucial duties, managing everything from accounting to administrative work. It's my previous job experience that's valued, but sometimes I feel it's little more than extra, unpaid labor. 6 a.m. on Monday, the city lights outside the 4th floor window start to dissolve in the dawn of spring. From another office, the soft hum of the copier starting up fills the quiet space. This is my favorite time. This stillness is sacred to me. My eyes fall on an expense report, where an unusual sequence of numbers catches my attention. The report is by Sam Walker, a younger employee who seems to be getting close with my husband, Jack. The numbers appear aligned at first glance, but years of experience reveal signs of clear fraud. Here, another one. The pattern is familiar, like past cases I handled. Old instincts from my days in corporate fraud prevention kick in as I highlight the evidence. Perhaps all that time I spent rooting out fraud was meant for this moment. 8 a.m. The elevator chimes, and a familiar voice reaches my ears. I find myself straightening up, instinctively tense. "Good morning, Mr. Johnson. Nice tie today." Sam's voice carries a practiced sweetness, sounding somewhat staged.
"Thanks. Oh, did you finish that report I asked for yesterday?"
Jack's voice has a warmth in it I don't hear at home, a softness reserved for someone else. It sounds like simple conversation, but anyone can see the closeness between them. Jack walks by my desk, treating me as if I were invisible. Lately, this has become the norm, both at home and at work. I hear my mother-in-law's voice in my mind.
"She's smart and capable, but no one respects her."
She loves to say that to her friends on her social media, oblivious to what's really going on. My phone vibrates, interrupting my work.
"Your mother's condition has deteriorated slightly. It may be best to bring her in for an exam."
My blood runs cold. I'll be there in 30 minutes. As I'm about to leave, I turn and see Elena standing in the doorway, dressed in her flashy business attire. Her rank may be honorary, but she still radiates a commanding presence.
Oh, you seem in a hurry. But remember, we have an important meeting this morning.
My mother's health is declining. I need to... She raises a hand, silencing me.
But what about the 80th anniversary event planning? I've been telling my friends all about it.
The anniversary budget began at $20,000 but has ballooned to $30,000 with her endless demands. Meanwhile, payments to contractors are 4 months overdue, and the phone calls from small subcontractors grow more desperate daily. I can join a bit later. I just need to check on her quickly.
So, real family comes first, right?
Her words slice through me. Another Facebook notification flashes across her screen. Blessed with a wonderful daughter-in-law. It's another one of her deceptively saccharine posts.
Mom's right, Mina. The company has to come first.
Jack's voice echoes behind me, his tone as cold as ever. In his hand, he clutches a report prepared by Sam. Does he truly understand the falsified expenses it lists? Or is he testing me to see if I'll react?
Anyone seen the receipts from last night?
My father-in-law, Lance's loud voice fills the hall, no doubt fresh off another disastrous client meeting. His breath carries a stale hint of alcohol, a smell that's become all too familiar. He's started drinking even during work hours now, and the bills from his favorite bars stack up on my desk. The reality of this company, despite its 80 years, is a crumbling structure hidden behind a carefully maintained facade. Excessive expenses, poor management, and hidden fraud, the company's flaws run deep. Just yesterday, yet another contractor reached out pleading for overdue payment. I feel weighed down as I walk back to my desk. A new message lights up my phone screen.
Don't push yourself too hard, honey. Your happiness is what matters most.
My chest tightens, knowing Mom is sending what little encouragement she can offer, given everything. My vision blurs with tears. Just then I catch a glimpse of movement at the edge of my sight. Sam is at the cabinet in the finance office, hurriedly gathering documents with a strange, nervous energy. Later that day, the extended family and company staff gather at a formal conference room. The room exudes an air of seriousness fitting for the event, with elaborate decor and a large, formal setup. Afternoon sunlight filters through the high windows, casting a serene glow over the scene. Jack's parents sit at the head table, observing everyone with an air of authority. The only sounds in the room are the soft clinking of teacups and murmured greetings.
I'm terribly sorry for the wait, everyone.
Gaze flickers to her phone, a faint sigh escaping her lips. Her phone screen shows a group chat titled Ladies of Distinction. In the chat, she's already posted a few photos of herself in today's outfit. The delay was due to my parents, who couldn't get here sooner because of the lack of available care staff. Just as I try to explain, Elena's phone chimes loudly with a notification.
Another like. My Facebook post seems popular today.
She glances at her post, which reads, blessed with an amazing daughter-in-law and a harmonious family. In truth, she's only met my parents a handful of times, and our last interaction was over a year ago.
Hey Mom, let's get a photo for Instagram.
He responds to a message on his phone as he reaches for her, and a flash of can't wait to see you tonight pops up on his screen. The sight makes me turn away. My phone suddenly rings, breaking through the noise in my mind. Hello, this is Mina Taylor. My heart sinks as I listen to the voice on the other end.
Your parents were in an accident. An ambulance is on the way.
I nearly collapse, struggling to stand. Elena's grip suddenly tightens on my arm, keeping me seated.
You can't leave right now. This gathering is important to the family.
There's a twisted pleasure in her voice, as if enjoying my misery.
She's right, Mina. They're in an ambulance. They'll be fine.
My hands shake as I settle back into my seat. From behind, I hear someone whisper,
So ungrateful, neglectful daughter, really.
The comment stabs at me. Meanwhile, Elena places her arm around me in a fake show of comfort, her actions capturing applause from the surrounding relatives. Nearly 2 hours later, as the gathering draws to a close, my phone rings with another unknown number.
I'm terribly sorry, but despite all efforts, your parents did not survive. They lost too much blood.
My knees give out as the news sink in. Beside me, Elena pulls out her phone, typing away eagerly, her face alight with interest.
At least you won't have to worry about their care now, Mina.
She types a message to her group chat. Finally freed of that burden. I feel lighter already. In moments, replies flood in. You're so kind, thinking of others. Rushing to the hospital, I find my parents' bodies cold, lifeless. A paramedic relays my mother's last words to me. She said, "Don't worry about us. Go live a happy life." My mother's final message to me, urging me to live for myself, fills me with a bittersweet ache. After their cremation, I return to their home, where I find an old letter from my father's college friend, George Crawford. He's now a successful CEO of a large construction firm. The letter details a promise made between my father and George to look after me should anything happen. For years, George has been offering our family the support we needed but never asked for. That night, Jack comes to the house, scrolling through his phone, barely looking up as he speaks.
Now you can focus on the family business.
Alone in my father's study, I clutch George's letter, finding solace in its words. Little does Jack know I've been preparing for this moment. I have everything. Evidence of Sam's embezzlement, Jack's mismanagement, and proof of Jack's affair. I open my computer and send it all to George, my heart steady with resolve. In response, a message appears from George.
Ready whenever you are.
I look at the insurance policy my father left behind, solidifying my decision. No one can hold me back now. The next day at the crematorium, I sit with my family, waiting for the final service. Elena suddenly dumps a bucket of gasoline over me, a cruel smile on her face. She leans down, whispering with feigned sympathy.
Now your parents can finally rest.
My clothes soak with gasoline as she smirks, expecting me to shatter under her cruelty, but instead I calmly get up and walk out. Outside, I run to a nearby fountain and dive into the water, letting it wash away the stench and the gasoline she drenched me in. I emerge, soaked but freed from her poison, feeling an unfamiliar lightness. Nearby, Elena screeches, trying to spin the story for onlookers, claiming she only meant to comfort me. Her act no longer affects me. My heart feels calmer, even as her pretense unfolds around me. I wring out my clothes, my mind filled with one final promise to my parents, to live a life that honors their love. Back inside, the quiet sound of the cremation service concludes, and my mother-in-law's phone buzzes nonstop with notification. Even in this moment, she can't stop posting, sharing her twisted narrative of events for anyone who will listen. A few days after the service, early morning light fills the finance office as I finalize my plan. I review each file, documenting every instance of fraud meticulously. Falsified expense claims, inflated invoices, double accounting entries, evidence of Sam's and Jack's betrayal. This time, they won't escape accountability. With a click, I transfer all the files to secure locations, including George's custody. In moments, the walls they've built around their lives will come crashing down. When Jack arrives at the office, he's holding a luxury gift bag, a present, no doubt, for his mistress. He greets me with a smug expression, oblivious to the reckoning about to unfold.
Morning. You're up early, Mina.
I respond briefly, knowing he has no idea that today marks the end of his charade. An hour later, the office starts buzzing with nervous energy as Sam is nowhere to be found. Phones ring and whispers fill the air as staff members begin speculating.
I can't reach her. No response on her phone, and it's straight to the voicemail.
I know where she is, of course. She's on the run, evading both her debts and the aftermath of her fraud. Shortly past noon, the company's compliance officer and legal counsel arrive, grim expressions on their faces. They bring with them thick files, the documents I had so carefully prepared.
We have a serious issue of non-compliance and fraudulent activity here. This may affect the company's future operations.
Jack's face pales as he glances over at me, sensing the gravity of the situation. But it's too late. The investigation has already begun, and every detail of their misconduct will be uncovered. My father-in-law stumbles into the room, still smelling faintly of alcohol, bellowing in confusion.
What's all this? Who authorized this meeting?
Legal counsel reveals a diagram connecting all the fraudulent transactions, showing just how deep the rot goes. Elena, fixated on her phone, suddenly gasps as she realizes that news of the scandal has started spreading across social media.
Oh, this can't be happening! Look, they're posting about us!
Her hands tremble as she reads a flood of comments and shares exposing her deceitful posts alongside the truth of the family's scandal. Former employees and vendors are sharing stories, each one painting a clearer picture of the company's corruption. That night, Jack's rage echoes in the small apartment he now shares with his parents, having lost their home and nearly everything else. For a moment, I feel nothing, just a quiet, calm satisfaction. 6 months later, my own life has transformed. I'm now a corporate consultant, building a promising career with George's guidance. With my father's life insurance supporting me, I stand confidently, shaping a future on my terms.
I have to say, Mina, I'm genuinely impressed with how far you've come in such a short time.
I couldn't have done it without your support, George. We stand in George's office, overlooking a cityscape painted in soft afternoon light, both of us feeling the peace of long-fought battles won. As I place flowers at my parents' resting place, one autumn morning, the gentle sunlight makes them glow. I'm reminded of their unwavering love and resilience, gifts they passed on to me to carry forward. With a newfound sense of peace and purpose, I smile, ready to embrace my future. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I'll keep moving forward. The journey to this point was fraught with darkness, but ahead, I see nothing but light.